Hello, it's Corey. Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about two of my favorite things, that is, books and movies. More specifically, books that I believe should be turned into movies. I'm going to start with my most recent read, and it's a read that was really unexpected, not because of the synopsis of the book, but because I didn't even read the synopsis of the book, and that is Howling Woman by Shelby Hinte. Now, I was on NetGalley just scrolling, first time trying out the app, and I saw the cover of Howling Women, and I was like, that looks kooky, interesting. I love the color choice. I love the swirly vortex pattern. So I was like, how about just seeing if I can get it? And I got approved for it, so I started the audiobook. And when I tell you, I spent the first 6 hours listening to this book just laying on my couch, staring at the fucking ceiling. I was enthralled. The book just grabbed a hold of me, and I could really see it working as a movie. Now, in Howling Women, you follow Sabine, who is running away from her life and from her trauma. She flees California to go back to the state of her birth, which is New Mexico. And in New Mexico, she meets a woman that goes by Howling Woman. Now, the two of them spark an unlikely friendship, and some craziness ensues. Now, when I was reading it, I was picturing it very cinematic, and two movies kept on popping into my head. One being Ari Aster's latest movie, Eddington, which is like a modern Western crazy movie. If you haven't watched it, I recommend it. And the other one is another crazy movie by A24 as well, and that is Love Lies Bleeding. Now, I can see Howling Woman shot in the style of those two movies, just like a pulpy, modern Western, just flashy, slow at points. I would love to see it. The second book I want to talk about is The Skunks by Fiona Warnick, and I had never heard of her. I had never heard of this book, but I saw it one time at Barnes & Noble, and the cover, again, intrigued me, so I picked it up, and I devoured it in 3 days. It is a wonderful slice-of-life book following a girl after she graduates college and goes back to her hometown. And it just follows the relationships and just her life being back, trying to figure out what she wants to do. And I could see this really being a beautiful indie film. It made me think of Janet Planet from A24. It made me think of Frances Hall by Noah Baumbach. I could even see it working with maybe a slight Wes Anderson vibe, just a really slow, middle America slice of life movie. I think it would be beautiful. Another book that I think should be a movie is Liar Mouth by John Waters. This was my first 5-star of the year, and I fucking love that book. It's so bonkers. It follows Marcia Sprinkles, who is a thief, and she gets caught at an airport trying to steal luggage, so she flees, and some craziness ensues. Now, John Waters has wrote a script for this book and wants to turn it into a movie, but is struggling to find funding, and I hope at some point in my life that this gets turned into a movie and I get to see it. If you haven't read the book, I highly recommend it. If you haven't watched anything by John Waters, I highly recommend John Waters. In December of last year, I did a deep dive on Criterion when they uploaded a bunch of his movies. Fell in love with that man. That man is a fucking genius. I love John Waters. Now, the next book I think would be a wonderful horror movie is Last Days by Brian Evenson. This book follows a man who, under some unfortunate situations, falls in line with a group of men who believe that self-mutilation brings you closer to God. This book is surreal. This book is wacky. It's twisted. It's gory. It's gross. And I can just see this being a wonderful surrealist horror movie. Like, it would be so good. I just know it would be. I would love to see it. Speaking of horror movies, another book that I think would be a wonderful horror movie would be Elegy for the Undead. Now, this book, it's a zombie book, but it doesn't follow like the typical zombie book kind of format. It more focuses on the relationship of these two men during the apocalypse. And one of them ends up getting bitten and slowly turns, and then you kind of just deal with the grief of that. Now, I think this would be a really beautiful, slow burn, romantic zombie movie. Something similar to Warm Bodies, but up the ante, make it more horrifying, make it sadder, make it slower. I think it would be a wonderful fucking movie. Another book that I would think would make a wonderful movie would be One Hand to Hold, One Hand to Carve. Now, this is a novella by M. Shaw about a body that wakes up in the morgue split in two, and each side of the body becomes sentient, and slowly they reform and grow into separate people. But one side of the body is more self-sufficient, and the other one is more codependent. And the book really just is about codependency. It's about family, and I think it would be a really charming body horror movie with like a wonderful message. If you have not read that book, I highly recommend it. Another one that I think would be a really good horror movie. Now, this is popular. This was one of the first books that I read that got me back into reading, and that is Tender is the Flesh. Now, I have heard rumors about this book being turned into a TV show, which I think would be fantastic, but I also just think it would be a wonderful movie. If somehow you have not read or heard about Tender is the Flesh, this follows the world after there is a disease that goes through and makes all animals poisonous for humans to eat. So the governments of the world decide to legalize cannibalization, and then they start making human slaughterhouses and raising humans for consumption. It's a gross, twisty book, and I think it would be a wonderful movie. And then the last book that I think would be a wonderful movie is Astral Season, Beastly Season. Now, this book is about these two high schoolers that are obsessed with this idol, and then you find out that the idol murders someone. So it just follows the deep dive of what you will do for your celebrity, for the one that you adore. I think it would be a wonderful, twisty, just dark time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.